Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It is so amazing to be here today all together, regardless of what time of day it might be for each of us or what time zone we might be in. We can all come together at one place at one time and have amazing conversation. So I'm super excited. I'm going to introduce, or actually I'll allow Anubhav to introduce himself just in a second. But before we do that, I want to first welcome everyone here on the LinkedIn family to our show. We know that some of you are here live, but we are doing it on a different day and time than we normally do. And by the way, we've had a little bit of a hiatus as we've been trying to navigate this new year, but now we're already in June, almost in June. So we're now in mid-year, but bear with us. I'm super excited to be here after that bit of hiatus. So thank you to everyone who is out there joining us, whether you are live or on Team Replay. If you're on Team Replay, which we know a ton of you come back after to watch the show, please leave us the hashtag Team Replay so that we can come back and have amazing conversation with you after the show. I want to encourage you guys to most certainly ask any questions. We've got an exciting topic today. We're going to talk about how you're going from boardrooms to story rooms and really the importance of, again, as you guys know, my passion, if you've been around, is in how the human engages. And it's really how do we bring back the human in the business. We've got a lot of great conversation we're going to have. So I encourage you to ask any questions that you might have. We will highlight them here on the show as we are in conversation. And then we will also, if we don't have an opportunity to answer everything, we'll come back after the show and have, again, continue the conversation with you in the comments. So I want to welcome everyone here today. I want to also make sure that I thank our partners. Our partners are Celevators, All Things Sales, Market Me More. If you've got an event that you need to put on, whether it's a live stream such as this, a podcast, an actual conference, it doesn't really matter. And all the support that you need in order to effectively navigate those events, Market Me More is your go-to place. And if you're looking for an opportunity to really engage with those that are making an impact, or you want to be a part of that change, if you want to affect change and be an impactor, go to Top Voices Unite. I want to welcome Anubhav to our show today. As you all may know, we're usually here on Wednesdays at 10 a.m. Central, 11 a.m. Eastern. We talk about all things, and we always bring it back to how we have been able to incorporate some of the things that we do into our success here on LinkedIn. So we're most certainly going to first learn about all things that he's doing, but we're also going to tie that back into how we can leverage what we're doing today here on LinkedIn successfully, because it's our job to share the successes, to give back, to give service to others and share what we've done and also learn what you've done as well. So again, engage with us in the comments. All right, so that was a lengthier intro than what I wanted. I am super excited to be here. Denise Murtha Bachmann, I am a longtime sales expert. I have really been focused on building or reintroducing the human back into the sales process by really actively listening, by being curious, and by being audible ready. And I love that, Anubhav, you're here with us today because you share some of the same not requirements, but the same interests that I do. It is really about bringing the human back. But before we dive into the topic, please take the time to introduce everyone to who you might be and what you've been doing to get you here. And then we'll dive right into conversation.
Yeah, I love that introduction, Denise, and welcome back to doing this. I think this is very powerful, excellent opportunities for people to listen and team in. Hey, Jose. So yeah, I'm quick introductions. You started with me being a human person and bring back human. It's funny we even have to say that. I don't think we ever really went anywhere. It's just that the the floor has rise so much because of everything that is changing in form of technology, that we need to raise the ceiling as well. And that's where humans really come in, I think.
Yeah.
But it's an upgrade if you really look at everything that has happened in the last 3 years on the technology front. It's an upgrade that we've got. And now anyone and everyone who's able to increase that gap between the floor and the ceiling is the person or a team or a tribe that's going to be make the difference. And that's what we are really doing, in form of a very quick, and where we are with Uptails. I launched Uptails a couple months back. Uptails is a place where we productize and platform expertise, proprietary frameworks, and IPs for knowledge experts. And why knowledge experts? Because knowledge experts, the thought leaders, are on a rise, either willfully or because of not having a choice,
Yeah. So, yeah.
just changing market dynamics. And they need a better go to market. They need a better way to sell their offers. They need a better way to touch more lives, because more and more lives are being impacted. And that's where we really fit in as Uptails. And by allowing knowledge experts and thought leaders to productize their expertise, we are giving them opportunities to make a sale happen even when they're asleep. And not just a sale, it eventually leads to the downstream impact that people who are getting trained, who are getting mentored by these knowledge experts, will really create. It's increasing the revenue, it's increasing the opportunities that are out there for people, it's increasing the impact that they can create, and the better outcomes that can happen. It's a fast moving world, and we are certainly making a dent out there. Just 2 months into it, this is my second startup, and I can obviously talk a lot more about what I've done a little prior as well. My prior startup was Vocatales. It still is Vocatales, and Vocatales was the reason why I quit the corporate world. I think the topic is about boardroom to storyrooms, and boardrooms is where I spent a lot of time. I think 20 odd years, from graduated from being a consultant to a sales leader in one of the top 5 IT companies in the world. And after that, I said, there is more to me. I've obviously done tremendous amount of sales, and like you, I was in sales as well. I was a very successful sales leader, and obviously a salesperson too. And I said, there is more to me, and I think stories certainly define me, and that led me to starting Vocatales. Vocatales is a place where writers, creatives, and storytellers craft the best possible stories. And I say best because of the deep depth of the stories that they can craft on the platform. And yeah, it's been an exciting ride, exciting journey. Vocatales is where my passion lies. Uptails is where the business and passion collides. And I talk about this as the aha moment. It's the Big Bang.
I love that. Well, I want to first take a break for a second, and I want to welcome Jonathan Chambliss and Jose to our show. So thank you for being out there. Appreciate you guys letting us know that you're here. As an FYI, I think it'd be fun to find out, to have everyone drop a note where you're located. I am here in Houston. Anubhav, where are you in? Chicago, yes, Windy City. We had that conversation last week. But let us know where you're also tuning in from. Even if you're on Team Replay, let us know. It's always fun to find out where everyone is chiming in from. So, you know,
hi, John.
So I want to touch on a few things. Well, we could go down a few different tracks just in your introduction, but one of the things I find, and you tell me if I'm wrong now. My husband will disagree. He'll tell you that my stories are super long, and sometimes it'd be better if I could just start at the end and then work my way backwards, because I tell a long story. But when you are in sales, right, when it is what, as you mentioned, the difference between, the bottom and the ceiling, right? It's the people in between. We're going to be the differentiators, right? And it's not just showing up. It's about showing up, creating heroes, highlighting those heroes. And heroes are all a part of a story. Telling a story is what really is going to most certainly resonate more with your buyers, with the people that you're trying to influence. If you're an influencer, it doesn't matter what role you're taking. When you're engaging with someone, telling a story is what helps you connect with someone else. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, 100%. I think that's the margin of relevance. That's what I call it.
Mm-hmm.
If you really
I love
want to
that.
stay relevant, you have to and show people how to stay relevant, and that's the bridge. Story is the bridge that you need to form. Just yesterday, I'll give you two examples. Just yesterday, we were kind of between a group of people. We were talking about our business model, our ecosystem, our partnership,
Yeah.
and I said, guys, let's obviously look at what is it that this means to us from an impact and from a future business standpoint. But let's keep in mind the fundamental impact that we are going to create at the end user who's going to be impacted by this ecosystem that we are creating. Now, that's the story that we need to figure out on what is it that we will do that will make that end user more powerful, stronger, a better person, so that what changes in their life from when they are not working with our ecosystem to when they start working with our ecosystem. I think that is the message. That's the story that we really need to come up with. And we managed to kind of really craft that message on what is it that we'll be telling them. And bingo, I think that's the relevance that everyone needs to create. A long short does not matter. I've been learning storytelling. There are some and pure storytelling, not just sales storytelling. There are some who start off knowing the ending. There are some amazing, exceptional writers and storytellers who start off writing something knowing the ending. Brandon Sanderson, phenomenal American author, has probably written 40 plus novels, and he's a who's who. When you look at what he has done, pretty much all the time he talks about, I know the end before I start writing the first word. But he also kind of likes to plan and plot things out as he goes along. And then there are people who start writing and they let the character take the shape of their own destiny. They lead by the character's intent, and the story kind of transforms and transpires. I mean, there's no way these multi-series novels, the author can know the ending. But they keep going one book at a time, one edition at a time, and that's what it is. LinkedIn.
Wait, I have to interrupt though really quickly,
Yeah.
because this is a fun little fact I learned about him last week, is in our conversation, which by the way, I want to welcome Nikki from Fort Myers. Jose says he's from the Netherlands. So thank you. And you are a great communicator, Anubhav, based on Nikki's comments. So excited
Thank you, Nikki,
to have her out here. And if you go check out his LinkedIn profile, he's got Nikki's face right there in his banner. So she is on his banner. But what I found very interesting in our conversation last week was that you are writing a book yourself, and it's taken you several years to get to, to in your journey of writing this book. I'd love to know, which type of writer are you? Do you know the ending, or did your characters kind of form the story as it went through? Where do you fit in this?
I'm a bit of both. I knew a little bit of the ending, but as the stories, I've been writing it for the last 5 years, and it's fiction.
Okay.
Unlike a lot of business people out there who are writing nonfiction, because of many reasons, I think everyone cares for the impact that they can create in the short run of their lives that they all have. I wanted to go back and live it a very different way. I wanted to go back and write my story that is full of imagination and not just data. There's enough places out there for people to get and extract data dump, nuggets, gold, diamond, silver, whatever you want to call them. But I really wanted to touch lives through the imagination, touch lives through the character that I believed can touch lives. And I also was writing for young adults, because I think looking at the current state of affairs, it's them who really needs the the most direction. Look at the Gen Zs. I don't want to go down to Gen A. They have many more years before they are out there in the world, in the wild west. But Gen Z is going through one issue after another in the last 5 years. I mean, 6 years. COVID happened, and then after that, the world politics has been in so much. We all know where things are,
Disarray,
and then
yeah.
and then AI. I think it's turned every aspect of political, economical, social, technological in disarray. It's turned a lot of things total. So I really wanted to kind of write something that could excite and also give direction to the younger population. And imagination was the way. I did not know the ending. As I kept writing along the last 5 years, I was fortunate to get a great writing coach who could tell me, because I was used to writing executive summaries. That is what made me a successful storyteller. Boardrooms presentations, I would lead in, I would start off, I would tell stories that hooked the audience, captivated them. And then after that, the technical teams came in and they started telling the details and the solutions, and everything kind of, it's like a good set of dominoes that kept falling. And yes, end of the day, there is more, then there are different teams from the customer side and all that. You kind of start weaving them all together, and there you go, bingo, the big moment happens. But in this case, I did not know how to write a story. So I really had to work with some experts to teach me the fundamentals. I even had to go back and actually do a creative writing course at University of Chicago, because I was like, I'm not going to just write this like an executive summary. I really need depth in this. I need pacing in this. I need imagery and sensory elements in this to come out. And I had to learn a lot of them. Getting to the closure of it. And the ending is exactly where I'm still working on. The final piece is stitching it all together, because it is extremely important to have a strong ending to a very powerful story that has really captivated the audience. We've seen it all across, reading books and watching movies. You need a strong and powerful ending. Otherwise, people come out of the theaters, or people close the book thinking, "Oh man, the
That was
ending
terrible." Yeah.
Game of Thrones is a classic example. So I'm like, Game of Thrones needs an alternate ending.
That's awesome. Yeah. Well, first, I want to welcome Philippe. He's outside of Washington, D.C. in Maryland. So thank you guys for engaging with us in the comments below. And as Anubhav is just sharing a little bit about his history and what he's doing, if you have questions, most certainly ask them below and we will answer them for you. But I do want to kind of talk for a second, because it sounds like, even though you said you're a combination of the two, it sounds like you're really focused a lot on the character. And I do think that you mentioned something earlier in the conversation as you started down this path, which was a similar viewpoint that I had, was that whether you are an influencer, a thought leader, whether you're a salesperson, you're an executive, you are a leader or manager of people, it doesn't really matter. But when we form our stories, when we've got a message we've got to get out, when we really position it with a story around it, and we think about our audience. So our audience can be our buyer, our audience can be our employees, our audience can be the people that we're trying to influence as thought leaders. It doesn't really matter. But those are the people we got to think about as the center of our story, that we have to figure out, how do we make them be the hero? How do we help them win? How do we help them? And instead of thinking about us as individuals and what we're trying to message, what is it that we want our heroes to take from the conversation? How do you do that effectively today? We've got so much outside noise, and we are being taught to be more self-centered, more egotistical, more focused on self-care. How do we switch that back to where we should be focusing? How do you do that? How do you tell others to do that when they're creating these stories?
No, I think especially in the business context, it's extremely important to listen. The biggest reason I was successful is because I let the customers talk. I had the right questions, of course. I built the right connection with them, the right relationship with them. But you have to probe in to listen to them. Because if you are kind of really going after, here's my solution, and that is a problem that even product owners today and founders face today. If you just keep going after, here's my product, here are the 20 features that are going to be the most powerful features that you will get. Why? Tell me why. But before you tell me why, you should be able to listen to me and understand my problem, because every person faces their own unique problem. Every organization has a unique set of dynamics. A smaller $2 billion company will have a very different problem that they are facing today than a $100 million company, than a $20 billion company. And if you're selling technology and as a solution, a set of solutions to them, products or solutions to them, you need to understand. I think we talked about this too as well, Nikki. There are three motivations that people really have when they are taking a decision. There's an economic motivation. They know everyone cares about economics, because these are all, most of the big companies, large companies that you cater to, are publicly traded companies. Economics is what drives them. So there's an economic decision that they need to take as to what will make financial sense for them. And then you have to look at the person in the eyes and ask them, what is in this for you? Because that's their aspiration. That's where they are going to reveal what's their benefit. I've seen people, after really working with me, I've seen people go up from directors to vice presidents, vice president to C-level. I have several relationships across the business world, from C-level down to several levels, because of just the working relationships that I've built over the past. But I've seen people rise after a successful deal that I thought I closed at my end, but that made them successful because they did something right. So that's the second one. That's essentially the aspirational side of it. And the third is obviously, their own personal and business financial metrics and numbers that need to align at several levels. That's where multiple departments come in. So now you're not just listening to one person, you're listening to different teams, because there is not one decision maker. If it's a smaller company, you might just be serving the CEO, and they'll be like, okay, great. If it's a slightly bigger company, it's a CEO and the CTO, especially if you're talking about a technology company, that are going to be taking the decisions on what matters. As the size keeps going up, you're then talking about the CPO as well, the product owner as well. You're talking about the procurement teams. You're then talking about the pure IT team and CIOs. It really depends on where the decisions lie. And if it's federated, then you need to cater to the federated organization. And how do you do that? By really going out and listening to them and really spending some time with them.
But I think you even have to go take it a step further too. When you're listening, you also have to know your audience, because tell me if I'm wrong and if you disagree, but it's you can be the most effective listener, but if you haven't learned who your audience is, and that doesn't mean you have to know Denise Murtha Bachmann as the person you're sitting across from, but you do need to know that, okay, I'm a sales fanatic, right? So what makes me tick, right? What are the things that are going to resonate with me? So learning the personas of those that you're actually going to engage with. So preparing a bit more before you walk into the meeting so that you can actively listen. Because if you aren't prepared for the meeting, you're not going to actively listen. I think that is so very key. And we miss that. We run from meeting to meeting that we don't even stop to think, okay, what is the intent for this meeting? What is good look like? What does great look like? And what's worst case scenario, right? And who am I speaking to? So that I can actually listen. And when you have all of that, it enables you to be, I always talk about my methodology is, I'll remind everyone, and this is not a conversation about me, but it's so relevant to this conversation that we're having right now, which is you've got to be curious. Just like Anubhav said, right? You've got to actively listen, and you as well have to be audible ready. When you are prepared and you know who you're speaking to, it enables you to start asking the right questions while you're listening, instead of thinking about the questions when you're supposed to be listening. It allows you to truly be audible ready in a conversation.
Yeah, that's the aspirational part as well that aligns to that. You need to understand and know the aspiration of the people and the person that you're talking to, because when you know that, you can probe in and ask the right questions. If you don't know that, you are obviously doing a lot of guesswork on the fly, which is also okay. Being open is fine. Corporate deals are not closing in 3 months. My longest deal that I really went after closed in 4 years.
Oh, wow.
It
I've
took
never
me
had one close that long, take
it
that long.
took me 4 years to close that deal. And when it closed, it was a $450 million deal.
Oh, well, no wonder why. Yeah.
There you go. And
Mhm.
I had to go through these motions. I had to drop the ball every once in a while, because I was like, you know what, this may not happen. But then again, because one birdie came in and said there's something that's happening there, and I was like, okay, let me go figure it out. But that's conviction. When you really know an organization, a customer is in trouble, just that they are not able to take the right decisions, you have to be there when they are willing to take the right decisions. Also, there are places and there are times I've gone after as a sales guy, and I have dropped the ball because I realized they are not going to take a decision right now. I would, because of either them telling me, or because I could sense. That's discernment. It comes in with experience. It comes in with time. And once you get that discernment, you're like, okay, there you go. It's not going to happen. Let's move on and do something else. I think sales and go-to-market is a very, very difficult journey. That's what makes an established business successful, and that's exactly what makes a new business, a new startup, really click with the audience. You can be an excellent product development team, a product developer, but if you are not able to understand the needs of your customer, the needs of your market, you will not be able to make your business go up from being a product business to a business.
Okay, well, so maybe this is a great segue, because now I really want to spend a few minutes talking about uptails, right? You've got all this amazing sales experience, right? You've had success there. You've learned how to tell good stories, although you've had to do that. I mean, if you're truly I firmly believe that the differentiator between a good salesperson and a great salesperson is their ability to understand their hero, what makes them a hero, and tell a story around how they're going to help them become that hero, right?
Yep.
I think that is important. But now, how do you bring all of that together with uptails? How do we leverage a solution like uptails to help us do the things that you said, which, help us make better sales, do them while we're sleeping, right? Bring in sales while we're sleeping. How do we do all of that? How do we bring this together with uptails?
Yeah, uptails is has both ends of the spectrum for a creator or a knowledge expert. It has place where you can convert your product, your proprietary frameworks, which are right now living in PDFs. Look, a lot of times what people do, the knowledge experts and the coaches, what they're doing today is they are going out there selling because they're good at it. They are also selling their expertise through proprietary frameworks because that's what makes them unique and special. But when they start working with someone, what is happening today is they're sending these frameworks out in form of PDFs, in form of Google Docs, in form of worksheets that they expect people to fill in and then give back to them, either in a live mode, collaborative mode on Zoom calls, or they are doing it in form of just offline collaboration over emails. What you can do on Uptails is you can change your entire framework into a live interactive workshop. And now people can come in and engage with your content. What's not happening when people are engaging right now is it's sermons, it's education that people are getting, mentees are getting from their mentors. Whereas if you change that game from being an education to an engagement, being a workshop, that's where the value multiplies manyfold. And now by the end of a session, a workshop, or a set of scheduled meetings, you are getting outcomes that are tangible versus going back and forth and then figuring out what things are. So that is the part of creation of your proprietary frameworks into products that are now available under your profile for sale in multiple different ways. Now you can sell your time on Uptails, or you can sell these productized frameworks on Uptails. It's up to the people to now either get a time. Human time is valuable, and human
It
time
is.
is also short, and that's how you price your time. But
And by
if
the way, it's our most valuable asset. If we aren't leveraging it that way or treating it as
100,
our most valuable asset, we are doing ourselves a disservice.
yeah, 100%. And that's why if people are willing to buy your time and work with you directly, great. If not, you have an offering that can be your offering, your product without your time, so that people can actually engage with it and see the value that they can get out of it. And now there's, it lights up a bulb, and they're like, oh wow, this is fantastic. I've come this far without even working with this person. If I do work with this person, what is it that this can unlock for me? And that's what I've seen, essentially. Having been a knowledge expert myself, I was a consultant. I was a customer experience consultant myself in the very early part of my career. And as I moved from there into the sales, I realized it's the time to act, it's the execution, it's the application that really makes the difference. And that application is needed today more than ever before. No one wants, just last point there,
Yep.
Look at the big five. They're all disrupted right now because no one wants just your strategic input, because you can get that strategic input by uploading a bunch of spreadsheets and a bunch of presentations onto Claude and get enough insights on the change that you need to bring in. How is the question? So how is become a lot more important. Earlier, it used to be why. It still is why, but now how, that journey is extremely important. And if you have that experience on how, you need to make it happen together alongside, and not just by preaching and sermons and education.
I mean, we could have another hour of conversation, because there are several different points we could go down and have discussion around. But I love the way you ended that, really just, or paused after that, because I think that's something that we should take back with us, that we need, that should stay with us and resonate. Because again, when we talk about differentiators, when we talk about the human back in the business, when we talk about storytelling, finding the hero, it is really making sure our differentiator is not going to be the why, because the data points, as you mentioned earlier, you can find almost anything that you need on, heck, you can use Claude, ChatGPT. You can go through Google and go through each of the individual listings and go through each of the websites yourself to gather that data. It doesn't really matter. The why is the easy part now. Now the differentiator is going to be how. How are you going to do it in a way that is different from someone else?
Yeah.
And I think that, and I love that you've built this platform that allows this ability to interact, be interactive, engage, because no one wants to be educated anymore. We're too busy. So you got to get to what you want to get to at a faster pace rather than educating, because we don't have time for that. I don't know about you, but I got enough resources. I can find shit online. Excuse me, I just cussed, because that is how strongly I feel about it. We can find stuff online. It is more about, what do we bring as individuals to the equation?
Yeah.
We're the how.
Absolutely. You are the how, and that's exactly. And you have to tell the other person as well what their how is. Look, people are extremely ambitious. People are also very driven. It's that how that will take them from point A to point B. Some people figure it out themselves. Some need the expertise of someone who's above them, to be able to understand that this person has that motivation and drive to be able to do it. I'll give you a classic example, Denise. This is how I came to USA over 20 years back. Back in India, this is my second job. My first job was with Dell. My second job after my MBA, and I started working as a consultant, and as a business consultant. And within the first 3 months of working there, I was talking to my boss, and he said, dude, this is good. I really like what you're doing. Where do you see yourself? And this is 3 months into the business, into that job. I said, I see myself.
And mind you, you were probably in your early
Yeah, early
20s, right?
20s.
So still a youngin, right? Okay.
Yes, 100%. And like, I see myself doing, what this person is doing. And his instant reaction was, dude, that guy is 6 levels above you. He's 4 levels above me. How? I said, I am not talking about title. I am talking about the role. I'm talking about the work that this person is doing. I don't care about the title. And he laughed at me. My super boss, who had a cabin in front of this cubicle that we were sitting on, his door was open. He heard that. Okay. He's a great mentor to me. Yeah, he's been a phenomenal guide and mentor all these years, for decades now, to me. And he heard that, and he said, dude, Anubhav, he called me and next day into his cabin, and he said, I'm going to send you to US. That's the power of, one, you being ambitious, you being driven, you speaking what you think, where you want to go, but someone listening to you, someone mentoring you, someone advising you, someone believing in you, and then someone being able to give you that path and direction. That is so damn important. I think that is what I hope and believe that with Uptails we are able to give, because a lot of startup founders, one of my biggest use case application of Uptails that people have been using, startup founders struggle in the early days to find their best pitch, be it for customers, be it for businesses, be it for investors, or be it for anything, because they all need a pitch. Now, from an elevator pitch to I was on Willis Towers this last weekend because my sister was visiting Sears, the old Sears.
I was like, Willis, it took me a second.
It's 103 floors, and that happened in 53 seconds. That's the elevator pitch you need. If you need to get a pitch like that for anyone, or if you need to get the elaborate investor pitch, you're struggling because you may not be the best storyteller because you are in the weeds. And now you need to work with someone, some expert who can really give you that direction. I started working with someone like named Rajiv Nathan. He's a phenomenal pitch specialist. And as he came on board as an expert on Uptails, he's transformed at least 15 people's pitches. He's created them. In the last 2 months, he's worked with 15 founders, all on Uptails, helping them create their elevator pitch. And some of them have moved on to create their entire pitch deck with him. But that's the power of having the right people and the right expertise working with you, and all on Uptails as a platform, from the point of sale to saying Raj is who I want to work with, and then executing the entire work on the platform by workshopping alongside Raj right on Uptails, on that one platform. That's the power that we are really bringing in. Do not get disconnected from your customer, and that's for us to keep in mind. Don't let your experts get disconnected from the customers after the point of sale. Increase the stickiness, and that's what we are really doing.
And I think, because I know I want to be cognitive of everyone's time, and I still want to come back to, some kind of relaying all of this to how we've been able to transition that over to LinkedIn and the success that we're seeing there, right? But one of the things that was an aha moment for me when we spoke last week, that I want founders, or you don't even have to be a founder. You can be someone who is working in a sales role. You can be a leader that just needs to improve, execute something, a project better, a role better. It doesn't really matter. But my aha moment when you and I were speaking in regards to Uptails was when I built my Celevators program. An amazing mentor that coached me through that process, but it was about a 3-month process-ish. I don't really remember exactly. And you at Uptails, if I'd have worked with Uptails, I could have done that process, could have probably taken hours.
Yeah. because of
Right.
the process,
Yeah.
the framework, and the structure. Look, this country runs on systems, and the reason it has been so successful is because of the systems that have been put in place. And the best of the best of the best experts run on frameworks and structures. Uh,
Yeah.
it takes the best to recognize that. Many are perfectly fine and just figuring things out themselves. But the moment you get your hands onto the right structures, the aha moment happens this fast. And exactly,
Okay.
that's exactly what I think is possible. I have a go-to-market expert. I have quite a few go-to-market experts on Uptails, but this one guy, he said 90 days rep to revenue. That's his commitment. If you work with me, you hire a rep, depending obviously on the kind of business you're selling into, and within 90 days, I will show you a conversion. I'm going to make sure that when I come in from the point of me working with you to the 90 days period, you will make this rep show you results. That's my commitment to you. Now, and he's built this entire workshop on Uptails. He kind of collaborates with people. He makes them go through the 12-week program on Uptails, and it's all working phenomenally well. And that's the power. If you believe in something, and if you have it in your head, or if you believe in something, you have a framework that is still sitting in PowerPoints and PDFs and presentations, this place can become your go-to place for a workshop, for a product, and that you can now easily it's packaged already. You can send it to people saying, this is what I do and this is how I do it, and all at one place. That's the
Love
power.
it. Love it. Okay. I want to come back in a minute on where to find you, how to engage, how to navigate up, an opportunity to learn more about Uptails and yourself, Anubhav. But I do want to talk about, really, given your background, both again in sales and in storytelling, what do you think has helped you find the most success here on LinkedIn, given that background?
Yeah, I had to do a lot of tracking backwards before I moved forward. Because I worked for a completely different industry. I worked for tech industry, and I was very successful in that. And my network on LinkedIn was very, very tech centric. And then as I moved into this transition into being a storytelling person, my network was not the right network for that. So on LinkedIn, I really had to find some of the right people to work with, to collaborate with. I had to even go back and say, I'm going to look at this from a completely new lens, and I'm also going to raise the ceiling now. Until now, I had some shackles because 3 years back, when you're working with a corporate, you have borders around you. There are
You do,
things you
yes.
can do, and there are things you can do. And I'm still living in that confinement even after becoming a founder. I had to break those shackles. I said, you know what? I am the marketing person for my business. There, obviously, you don't want to stoop low. You don't want to go out and do things that are not right for when
Right.
it comes to your ethos and value systems. But there are no shackles. Let's break it. Let's kind of really go out and try and experiment new things. And so that's what I've really been doing. I can tell you, just in the last 3 months, Denise, this is funny, but true. In the last 3 months, I have increased my followers. I don't like the word followers, but I'm calling it because that's how the world knows
Because
them.
that's the way the
Uh,
world views it.
that's
Yes.
that's just how the way world is. By 2,000 people, I have increased my impressions by 2.5 million,
That's
and
awesome.
I have increased my profile views by 5,000 on a regular running basis. And 3 months, all I had to do was break free. I had to experiment. I had to put myself out there. Most important, put yourself out there. If you're not putting yourself out there, you're essentially not there, period.
But
So
I
I
but I do want to interrupt for a second because I don't want to lose sight or forget to mention, I think something even more important than just breaking free, just doing it taking the shackles off, not allowing yourself to be again in this perimeter that we thought we should be in, right?
Yeah.
I think the other thing though is what helps us be more successful is when we reach outside of our network. And I think that's the hardest part, is determining. Most people can do some of the things that you described. They can think outside the box. They can do something big, but they stay within their own network, which, by the way, sometimes that does work, because maybe you've surrounded yourself by the exact personas from which you are, trying to earn business or influence it. Again, it doesn't matter what role you are in, right? Or what your job is, or what you're trying to accomplish, but your audience, we'll use audience as a better way to describe your audience, may just be that. But for the most part, we have built our audience based on past experiences and not really on what we're trying to accomplish today, which means you've got to be able to break outside of your current network. And all that great insaneness that Anubhav was suggesting that you do, that's different and over and beyond what you've been doing, has to hit the right audience.
It has to. And if I had not done that, Denise, when I started building Uptails 6 months back as a platform, my outreach to people, pretty much every single person who's on Uptails right now are the people that I networked with in the last 3 years and not prior, after quitting my job. I have just one person on my platform that is an expert from the prior days of working together. But outside of that, every single other person, and these are power connectors. So on Uptails itself, I have people who collectively have 30 million followers. So that's the level of network that I have managed to build. And now I'm just stepping up step by step, one by one, giving them the tools and the ammunition to be able to productize and package their offerings, not just as, here's my time, talk to me. Because again, people are tired of doing that. They're okay doing it, but they want more. Don't just talk to me. I will work with you. I'll show you the path. And that's possible through these people. They are supporting me. They're with me, and they are aligned to the vision that I share. I just shared around Uptails. It's a flywheel, and flywheels don't get built overnight.
No, they don't. Well, I have loved this conversation. I do believe that another Blue TV session should be in the works, where we're going to talk about potentially, how do you break out of your current network? How do you expand beyond your current audience? So I'd love to embark down that conversation track in the next few sessions. But before then, I'd really like to really close out this session really strongly. I think it's been an awesome opportunity for us to learn the importance of storytelling, understanding your audience, who you're engaging with, what helps them win, what helps them be more successful, really create them as your hero, put them in that hero mentality, or you have that hero mentality for them so you can build your story. And I think it's really about being able to break free from the traditional things that you've done and differentiate yourself by trying new and bold things. Anubhav, I am so appreciative that you've been here. We've learned a lot from you. I'd love for you to be able to share with everyone how best to connect with you. I know you're here on LinkedIn, so we all know that since we're here on Blue TV, but maybe share with us the best way to engage with you and potentially with Uptails as the platform.
Yeah, 100%. I also want to kind of wrap up extending the note that you said. I think it's very important for people to recognize they need to chase the impossible. When they chase the impossible is when the butterfly effect really kicks in. Otherwise, it's not going to happen. Those small and big tasks that you go out and do will not shake the universe. Miracles are not going to happen. Someone is not going to lift you up. Someone is not going to pull you up. Someone is not going to push you. I don't know from where, but that's not going to happen. So please do that and change that, chase that impossible. To contact me, certainly LinkedIn is a great place. I'm also listed on Uptails as an expert. People can reach out to me out there. Also, I'm pretty open and generous giving my email, Anubhav at vocatails.com, Anubhav at uptails.com. People can reach out to me. A lot of people do reach out to me. It gets flooded, but I again, discernment enough to figure out who to respond to and who not to respond to. Yeah, that's the best place to connect. I'm looking forward to talking and meeting more people, more coaches, more knowledge experts and thought leaders who are looking to change the way they create the impact in the next 5 years, because times have changed.
They have changed, and we've got to change and actually get ahead of that change. So I want to thank you, Anubhav, for being here with us today. I want to thank everyone in the LinkedIn family for being here live. We're also going longer than normal. So not only did we change our day and time for this session, not only have we been on a little bit of a hiatus, but we also have gone a little bit longer because we've been having some amazing conversations. So I want to thank everyone who has been with us through the live session today. I want to thank those that potentially are joining us via the team replay. Be sure to drop us some comments below. Reach out to Anubhav directly. You can DM him. You can go to Uptails, email him. He just gave you his email address. Be sure to come back. I think we actually have a session next week. I want to thank, so we'll check that out. I think it's going to be next Wednesday at 10 a.m. Central, 11 a.m. Eastern. I want to thank our sponsors yet again. If you're looking for sales consulting, fractional leadership, coaching, Elevators is your go-to. All things related to marketing, even though events is where they really have been spending a lot of their focus and energy. Really, it's anything that you need from marketing perspective. Market Me More and Nikki Estes and team, you need to go check them out. And Top Voices Unite is where we're bringing the most amazing people who are making an impact together. Go find your resources there, or find ways to also become a part of that program. So I want to thank the audience. I want to thank the LinkedIn family. I want to thank those that were watching on Facebook, specifically Jonathan, Jose, Nikki, Philippe, sorry, I don't know how to pronounce, so I apologize, but I want to thank you guys as well. I want to welcome everyone to our next show next week, and I want to wish everyone a happy hump day. Thank you for being back here today. It is amazing to be back in the live seat. And Anubhav, it has been an honor to have you here.
Thank you, Denise.
To be here on LinkedIn, and I thank you guys. Have a great rest of your day.
You bet. Good day, all.
Stay on for a second, Anubhav.